Welcome back to today's video. Today I'm going to start a brand new series called Endgame Fundamentals, and basically in each episode I'm going to go through fundamental endgame techniques that you should know to improve your chess. So this being the first video, I figured instead of diving into super deep complicated endgames, I'm just going to go over basic checkmating patterns, and then at the end I'm going to do some chess puzzles with you guys, so you guys can pause that when I go there and try to work it out, come up with the solution yourself, and then just hit play, and I'll go through step by step. So, explanation of each move in the puzzle. We have about 3 puzzles set up. I got them from online chess forum on chess.com. So I'll link that in the description if you want to check it out. There's a bunch of other puzzles. Lee Chess also has free endgame puzzles, and there's a cool website. I might also link it in the description. I think it's called like Endgame Trainer or something. But it's good to practice your endgames, but they could be very complicated. So the first checkmating pattern you should know is not king and rook, but probably king and queen. So the idea with king and queen is that you want to basically chase this black king into some corner where you can just have it move between the a1 square and the a2 square, or vice versa, the a7 square, a8 square, or h2, h1 square, h7, h8 square. So this is just random position I set up. The idea is that you have no other piece on the board, and you just promoted this g pawn to a queen, which in this situation, if this ever does occur in a real game, which it could, chances are your kings won't be here, but you could have very well have a pawn that's going to promote. If it's just king and one pawn that you can promote, I would recommend either promoting to a queen or a rook. I think queen is much better. It guarantees your chance of winning just a little bit easier. Rook requires a little more calculation, but it's not too difficult. So I'm just going to go through it. So the first thing that you should do in a queen and king endgame, now you look at the engine's going to tell you like these much better ways, much more faster ways, but I'm going to show you a way that guarantees you can get a checkmate first, and then we're going to go through what way the engine recommends. So what you want to do in these endgame with a queen is you want to basically construct a square around the king until it gets into a corner with your queen. So to do so, you basically want to put your queen on the knight square. What this means is that look at the enemy king and go to where a knight would be able to move if it were attacking this king. And you see you get squares like this, and like this, and like this, and this. And you see that's how you construct how the knight moves. You know, this. Actually, this is much better than what I was doing before with the red squares. You get something like this, and you see that's where the knight can go. And you basically want to put the queen on that, so it reduces the square. Black king has to slide up here. You go here. Black king now has a number of ways to go. Probably here would be easier. If you go here, you're just going to get checkmated faster with the black queen, so this helps delay it. You get something like this, then like this, then like this, and this, and this. And here you actually don't want to put your queen on this knight square, otherwise it will be stalemate. So instead of doing that, what you want to do now is you want to start bringing your king into action, and then you put the king on c3 here, black king here, and you get a nice little checkmate with the white queen and king. Now, as said before, I'll go through what the engine recommends. The engine recommends this line: queen to d8, king e6, rook e4, king f7, king f5, king g7, queen c7 check, king to either h8 or g8 or h6. This is kind of the same idea that you want to do. I'll go to h8 just for simplicity. King to f6, king to g8, and queen g7 is checkmate. Now this requires a little more calculation just to get the quickest checkmate, but if time isn't the biggest concern for you, I would say just do what I say to do with the knight, just construct this little horse technique, and you'll get your endgame done faster. Now, another common endgame technique that you will see is a king and rook endgame. And the idea with the king and rook endgame is that you want to construct the square too. But here, because the king is here, you're basically going to want to just cut off the king's movement. And here you have a number of moves with the, not a number, you have two moves with the black king, but you just go king d8, and you just want to bring your king to the action as fast as you can. And when you see that this king is about to take your rook, you just go to the other side. Very simple, very straightforward. And this is basically what you want to do. You're basically in no rush to try to checkmate. You just go to king e6, king c8, king d6, king b8, king c6, king a8, king b6, king v8, and rook h8 is checkmate. That's how you checkmate with a king and rook. Probably the most satisfying in my opinion. I'm not going to go over like different things like smothered mate in this video or Anastasia's mate, or I think there's something called like a legal mate. I made a chess TikTok on that. I'm not going to go over that in this video. So that's what we're going to do in probably the next video, and then the video after that we're going to do some more complicated like pawn endgames, stuff like that. Here we have another endgame, a technique that you should know. It's bishop and knight. Here I already did it because it will get super long, so I'm just going to go through it with the king versus bishop and knight. This is a very technical endgame. You see even the engine doesn't really have a checkmating order because it's going to take forever, and this is web-based stockfish, so it's not going to calculate as deep as actual stockfish. But here, the black king, you basically start here. You put your white bishop on d4, so restricting this black king's axis of the dark squares. And here, most of the time, you'll see your opponent, they'll run to the opposite color of your bishop. So what this means is that since it's the dark squared bishop, the king will run to the light squared first. And basically, you just want to chase it with, ignore the engine bar for now. And this is just how you checkmate with it. It's a very simple pattern to memorize. You basically just want to check with the knight and chase this king into a little corner with restricted axis. Here, 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 and it's just a little dance you want to do. And here you see the king ran to the light squared corner, but we can easily chase it to the dark squared corner with a nice simple move of sliding your bishop back, because now you restrict that king's access to the a7 square, and it can't go to the b7 square because the king is here, so it has to slide to its b8 square. And now, very simply, you just put your knight here, restrict access to its light squared before, so now it has to slide here, only legal move in this position. And now you bring the bishop back to cut off this b8 square now, and you basically just rinse and repeat this process. And a little note with the knight, you're going to basically make a W with the knight to checkmate it. I don't know if you really can see this, but basically you want to go here, then here, then here, then here. That's how you want to move with the knight, a little W in these scenarios. And that's basically how you do it. It's very technical. It's basically a pattern once you get it down. And here you see you just do a little bishop dance occasionally, and that's really the only hardest part of the bishop dance. And that's how you checkmate with it, because here's checkmate because it can't move to the g8 square because the knight protects, can't come up to the 7th rank here because the king guards this, and can't break the g7 position because of the bishop, and on h8 is a dark squared, which the bishop delivers a final checkmating sequence. Now, that's the basic chess endgame checkmating patterns. Now, these endgames are going to be a little more different. I have 2 to win with white and 1 that's a draw, I believe. Sorry, 2 that are a draw, 1 that's a checkmate with white. This one is a pawn endgame. We didn't really talk about pawn endgames in this video. I'll make a separate in-depth video on pawn endgames, but just pause right now, see if you can figure out how to calculate it. Ignore this analysis bar, if you can. You can see some of it, but you won't see the full line. So pause right now, take a second, figure this out, and I'll explain it in three, two, one. Okay, so you had a minute to pause, came back, thought about it. Now I'm gonna go over this. So you can't move to the king c7. King c7 is a stalemate because the king can't move to b8. It can't go to b7, and it has no other axis to move. It can't take on a7 because of the pawn on b6. So instead, what you want to do with the white king is you just want to give up. You want to give up your space to not stalemate. So you want to either put your king on e7, sorry, d7, d7, e7, or e6. I will say that I think d7 is just a prettier move because you're not giving up too much space. Here, the black king can only move one of two places, b7, and here once again, don't want to try to promote. If you promote, you're gonna get taken, and you're furthering stalemate. So instead, you can either slide back to d8, e8, or d6. I like this move, king to d8. It seems better. Engine likes king to d8, so I would play king to e8 here, but chances are this doesn't really come up. This just three pawns like this, so king e8 is better. Here, the king can take here, but if it takes, it just gets promoted. So instead, the best move for black is to go king to a8. Then you play pawn to b7 check, king takes b7, b6, and now you can slide back to a8, but instead you're just going to get king to d7, king to b7, queen a8 check, king takes a8, king to c6, sorry, king to c6, not c7, king to b8, and now b7, a7, c7, and a6 promote to a queen, and now you get to test out your endgame technique. So here, a5, queen to b3, king to a6, queen to b6 is checkmate. If you wanted to do this little knight mate, I'll show you how to do it. Go here, 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 like this, and so on and so forth. That's how you do this chess puzzle. Another chess puzzle we have, it's a drawn position, but you have to be, there's only one correct move with the white pieces. Actually, I'm just going to move this over here so you don't see the line. I think that's good. And now what we're going to do is take a minute, pause, and come back when you think you have the answer, and I'll go over it. So take a second. I'm going to count down again. 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's white to move. It's a drawn position. White only has one move to guarantee a draw, and it's this move, king to e7. King e7 is a draw because you can't play this move, e7. Otherwise, you just have bishop to b5 constantly covering this, and the white king just is not going to make it to this black pawn in time. It's going to promote. That's just math. You can calculate it. You also have king to f7. Once again, not going to work because you could just play g5 and you're just going to be too slow with the white king, and you're going to have the same thing. Your bishop eventually going to come back to b5, the black bishop. Now you play king e7, bishop b5, still covering the square, and king to f6, bishop e8, protecting its own pawn, king e7, bishop b5, and this is what you end up with. It's a draw by repetition. Obviously, you can try to calculate it more, but it's not gonna. It's basically, once you find this move, it's not gonna be. You know the pattern at that point, so it's not gonna be a solvable thing. It's not gonna be a winnable thing unless white makes a mistake. But since you're playing with white pieces, you don't want to make a mistake. Next, puzzle is another drawn position. There might be a little bit of counterplay with the white pieces, so try to find the best move. This is a really hard puzzle. You can either have one of three ways, but there's only one way to guarantee white still keeps its advantage. So take a second, pause. I'm going to count down and try to figure it out. 3, 2, 1. Okay, you're back. You got your solution. So here, notice we have two bishops. The bishop pair are rook against a bishop and two pawns and a king. You see on the eval bar says white has a slight advantage, but you have to try to edge that advantage out. So here the best move for white is playing this move, bishop to a6. Bishop to a6 is the only move that guarantees white keeps its advantage, because here black has to find this move pawn to h2. You have to guarantee black finds this move pawn to h2, because if they do not, if they say play something like, I don't know, king to f3, or even just king takes, that's a simple checkmate with the black pieces, because you play this move bishop to e3 check, king h2, bishop f4 check, king g1, sorry, yeah, king g1, bishop g3, king h2, bishop f4 check, king g1, and now you can't play this move again, otherwise it's drawn by repetition, so instead you play this move, bishop to g3, king can't move anywhere, so you have to play this h2 pawn, then you play king b5, king f1, king b4 check, king g1, king c4, king f1, king d4, sorry, king d4, king g1, king d3, king f1, king e3, king g1. Sorry, here. Sorry, now you play this move, bishop to f2, checkmate. Very nice checkmate. But as said before, you want to play this, you can't take the rook. This is the best move, bishop to a6. And instead here, black has to play this move, pawn to h2. Any other move loses on the spot. And here, what white has to do is they have to play this move, bishop to f8. Very complicated move. Bishop to f8. Then you play h takes g1 to any piece you want. Let's say queen. Obviously, will lose on the spot. It loses on the spot because you play this move, bishop to c5. And then you play something like this, and you just lose the queen. So instead, what you want to do is you want to take this, and you want to not promote. You can promote to something. I think bishop might still be savable, but yeah, it's a very complicated puzzle. This one, there's a bunch of different lines. Here you see actually, before it was showing it's a draw, but now you see those winnable. The engine actually changed its mind after thinking about this for so long. So yeah, if you like this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you want to see in the next chess endgame video. And if you like the series and want me to continue it, make sure you leave a comment. I'll see you in the next one.